Hello guys, and welcome back to your favorite online TV, TECH-KNOWLOGY. This is Power Up Show, where we highlight biblical messages and responses to some of the contemporary issues that we encounter in our society today. Today on our show, we have a very amazing guest, Johnnie Gathuku. I'm sure some of you could have encountered him through Trinity Fellowship or the Timazi magazines. And of course, it's so nice to really have you on set.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll be discussing about technology and the life of a teenage or a young person on the media space. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
Did you look at this camera and introduce yourself to our viewers?
Okay. My name is Gathuku, John. I'm born again. I am married to Maggie. We have 3 children. I have a teenager and 2 preteens. So, and I have been doing student ministry based here in Kenya for the last 21 years.
Wow.
I have had opportunity to travel to many schools, including Jaden School.
Yes.
When I was a student.
Yeah.
Around the country, and sometimes we also get opportunities to be out. And we are glad. I think my passion is to see that teenagers do get opportunities to engage their own contemporary culture from a gospel perspective. So for many years we have been producing Timazi magazines, which is our flagship resource that helps high school students to think through their different contemporary issues from a gospel perspective.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, it's just so nice to catch up with you again after the very many years. I think I met you in 2013.
Interesting.
Yeah, at the UK high school. And the sermon was very transformational. So tell us, you've talked about Timazi just being a flagship. You have other things that you do. What are those other things that you engage on?
Our greatest concern as a ministry is to resource the high school teacher.
Okay.
We acknowledge that the high school teacher is a key shepherd that God has placed in a school. And because of our context in this part of the world, we do have our students, our teenagers spending most of their time in school more than they do at home.
Okay.
And therefore, practically, the high school teacher is indeed the best placed person next to the parent to guide the teenager. Therefore, we seek to train the Christian teacher and to provide them with every resource they need to do that kind of work. Okay. So Timazi magazine was our flagship product, but after that we have developed a few more things that we have come up with. The other one was something we call the Readership Challenge, which is a program that seeks to engage teenagers to help them to develop a culture of reading.
Okay.
So we've done that for the last 7 years.
Wow.
It's only that last year we didn't do that because of Corona.
Okay.
But every year we would choose a book and then we would negotiate with the publishers, Christian publishers internationally. Then we would print that book, get it to the student at almost cost, and then the student would read the book, do a book report, and then we would gather all those book reports, and then we would have Christian teachers who are mainly teachers of English and literature have a look at those reports. Then we would give an awards for the students who understood and comprehended the text well, and also who applied the main lessons from the book.
I remember when you did the media choices.
Yes, actually the media choices book that was done by Philip Telfer was one of our transformational books. We did it back in 2017. And in that year, when we got the book, we consulted with our network of media engagement workers. Because I am part of the Lausanne Global Issue Network on issues of media and trying to educate the church on how to help educate the church on how to engage the families on how to engage with media. And we asked which is the best book available at that time that would we would make it available to our own students here locally. And so Media Choices book is top of the range up there, and I think every parent will need to have that book, and every school go through it. So we read it with about 2,000 students. In 2017. We got scripts back, about 600 scripts. And this comes now from across the country, right from Kilifi, Kisumu, Kajiado, and which is the other part, Meru, Maua, even Moyale. We do have schools that participated. And I do remember when we were marking those scripts, a number of those students, when they were confessing their issues after having read the book, they said they were actually struggling with porn. And as a youth worker, I knew that actually porn is a big challenge, but I think I had never come to the place of maybe appreciating how deep the issue is, how enslaving it is to a majority of the teenagers. And I remember we cried as we read testimony after testimony from different students. And I think the teachers broke down, we were reading those texts. It was a very emotional kind of, and a very unique leadership challenge. And then thinking what can we do? And that made a turning point for us. Because after prayer, we felt we needed to do something very specific. To start now coming to terms with the reality that now we are living in a media-saturated society, and therefore we would need to have a gospel response. What does it mean then to raise your child, to have a teenager, to be a family in the media saturated world? And so we took that book and we started partnering with Media Talk 101 back in the US, which is the organization that Telfa leads. Got a number of those resources, did a little bit more researches, and we now started speaking in schools and churches on what will it mean for you to follow Jesus in this time. So we actually began now a new stream of ministry, of doing seminars and working with families to help engage the whole idea of media. In fact, of all the topics that personally I used to handle, I actually started narrowing down. When I realized actually this is one of those defining issues that the church will need to speak very clearly and articulate it very well. What is the biblical response and what does it mean to be a Christian? As you are surrounded by social media and all the different digital entertainment that is now available to us.
When you talk about social media, why is it so? People will always think about young people. Why is the media just associated with young people? Is this thing all about young people?
I would say we are being captivated as an entire generation. The generation that used to play Nintendo when they were teens and even younger, as we speak right now, they are the one driving the whole e-sport industry. I mean, it's a shock that right now we are having a whole industry where people are actually watching others play video games. When we were kids, that used to be child play. Now it's a whole commercial industry.
Imagine.
And the average age, if I would ask you whether you would imagine what is the average age of a video game player?
Maybe 18 through 25.
It's actually 33 years.
What?
As in, now we are having the age that used to play Nintendo and other lower technology video games didn't leave it as they were growing, and the video game developers grew with that generation, and actually they're the ones driving that industry. So it's now a huge total big world. The same case we say on social media, we really now cannot say that it's actually a domain of the young people. We are having older people are now having access to every kind of digital technology. My own parents on both ends, both for my wife and myself, are connected, say, to StarTimes. So they're able to watch anything all over. Both of our parents have smartphones. That means they're able to have access to a manner of content. And I also do remember one day, and this for me was a shocker because I was with an older man and we were seated having a conversation like with you, and he had a funky phone, so I kind of picked it up, and I was fascinated by the different brand, and only to pick it up, and then I was fiddling on it, and up came up a pornographic video.
What?
And we had a moment of silence because he knew what I had actually just bumped into. And as I returned it to him, we were both shocked because he's way older. He's almost going into his retirement.
Wow.
So now we are having a whole generation actually captivated by the media. But maybe why we do associate it with young people is because the young people are actually being driven by curiosity. Because this is new. They've been born as digital natives. But the older people, they're a bit hesitant, but they're actually getting there.
Okay.
So the young people are slightly ahead, so they will be able to operate because they've grown up with it. And therefore, we falsely think that it is a young people's thing. But in my opinion, it is actually the generation that is alive, that is grappling actually with what it means to live in this world.
Wow. I was really shocked. My mom, some time back, she's a bit, she's aged, she's 60, I think 67. She was telling me she needs Wi-Fi. And I'm like,
yes, that's a request my mother made the other time I was home.
Wow.
And she wanted me to actually connect her with Wi-Fi, and even asking her, what is Wi-Fi? She wasn't so clear about it, but she knows it's that thing that gives you very good internet to watch videos.
Okay.
It's interesting, yeah.
So, along, what are some of the issues that you have had that have addressed some of the issues that young people go through on the social media space?
Okay. Now, the first thing would be to have a framework of thought.
Okay.
One of the most faulty arguments is to think that all technology is evil. And I think that has made the church not participate effectively in the conversation.
Yes.
When you place a blanket statement, whether when you are, every new technology first is adopted, mainly by those who are wicked. I don't know why the church always has that. Like now, the first people who adopted TikTok, if you went on TikTok, I don't think you would have found very nice videos. Most likely you would have found some obscene videos. Then later on, you would get a few people now starting to post something much more meaningful on that conversation. But because the church sometimes trails behind on a technology, we associate that technology with the first adopters and what kind of content they put up out there.
Wow.
And I can remember that was the same perspective we had about Facebook. Now, that thinking about that the social that the media by itself is evil, that causes us to be late in engaging on how do we what will it mean for me to engage fruitfully on that technology. And therefore, that's number one. Number two would be to think about how then do we think about the issues the young person is going through while they interact with social media and the framework of how to walk with them towards it. If it is not evil, then what ought we to do? And I have a summarized way, which probably if we had more time we would have a conversation. The lowest one is insulation.
Okay.
Just like electricity, you never, we are able to have this conversation and beyond this channel because of technology and electricity.
Yes.
However, you can never use electricity before you first insulate all the cables.
Okay.
Otherwise, that thing becomes a danger to your own life.
Okay.
In that regard, the lowest one is insulation. And at the insulation level, the attitude by majority of the young people is that my parent doesn't want me to have this. And once you get insulated and you're able to be safe in terms of your safety, in terms of you know that there are certain content I shouldn't interact with. The second level is having a critical thinking and an engagement analysis. I'm able to tell and I'm able to separate this is evil, this is good, this is affecting me in this way. And you're able to do that. Thirdly, the second level, once you have learned how to do critical analysis, is now to be able to know how to participate on the forums that are available. Having both insulated yourself, you have a critical mind in terms of, and then you're able to post within Christian circles. The highest is your ability to actually participate on the wider culture.
Okay.
in terms of you're able to speak both to Christians and non-Christians on issues of life and the different perspectives. When I look at many teenagers, they haven't had opportunities to be trained on how to walk that ladder up. And therefore, they expose themselves to all the dangers that lurk within the context of like now social media. And let me mention a few. Number one would be like the breakdown of relationships. You see, essentially as a human being, I find my own flourishing as a person by the fact that I'm able to have conversations with you. Now, what the smartphone has done, it gives me the audience of one. So therefore, I can be able to spend my whole day alone. And therefore, our own relationship skills are dying. Especially for the younger people. If you have, say, a teenager in your house, like now I was with my nieces yesterday, you say, oh, hi, how are you doing? Fine. How was school? Good. They're answering you with one word. Meaning they are lacking ability to have conversations that give life. So that I'm able to tell you something interesting, you give me back. That part of conversation, we used to assume that it is just human. It is not just natural. It is developed through conversation. So we now have teenagers who have lost conversational skills. Now, this is just at the human life level. The second thing is actually now the whole issue of pornography. Pornography is a serious dragon for this generation. We are now living in a pornified culture, and I think that will need probably a whole topic for us just to sit down and think through it. Because we will need again to go through first. That's one of the things you need to be insulated against. The other one would be ungodly connections. You know, when the psalmist says, that blessed is a man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, nor stand in the way of sinners, nor sit in the seat of scoffers. Social media provides you connections with other human beings and other people, most of the times without filters. And therefore, I am exposed to all manner of views and interactions that I would otherwise earlier, I would have needed an adult to help me know that don't talk to Jaden and don't talk to Charles, make your friendships with so and so. But social media just throws you out there. And therefore you have a young and developed teenager interacting with all manner of people, voices, and worldviews without kind of limitations of knowing how to filter.
Wow. That's just mind-blowing. Imagining the life of a young person and really the things that they go through. Mr. Johnny, if you were to come back to your teenagehood today, what did you do differently?
Oh my goodness. If I was to go back to be a teenager today, that's a very interesting question. Because now I have a teenager and I'm watching my son.
How is he?
How he's navigating. I think one of the things I would do if I came back as a teenager, I would make more attempt to have a better relationship with my parents. I think you learn too late that your parents were way wiser
than yourself.
And I wouldn't probably rely a lot on all the digital entertainment that I have consumed over the years. I think I would cherish and spend a little bit more time with them. That's number one I would do. Number two, I think I would learn a few more skills with my hands, which I didn't do. When I was younger, I think as we had the colored TVs, that was the biggest fascination. TV used to be switched on at 4 p.m. when I was growing up with the national anthem. So I probably would learn another skill. I would learn how to play the guitar. Maybe I would do a bit of carpentry. And I've realized that even though I did go ahead and pursue academics, there are many other things. Like now, I don't know how to make chapos, and I don't know that Jaden, you know how to make chapos.
I do know how to
Oh,
make
you
them.
do? They have better skills than me. So there are many skills that today I realize that I would have benefited if only I used my time better when I was younger. Because as you grow older, there are many other increasing responsibilities that limit you to learn certain skills when you're younger. Yeah.
Well, I just wanted that to look like an icebreaker. Now back to our topic, the technology. What are these challenges that young people are really facing in the media space?
Okay. Another challenge that maybe I would put forth is a scattered mind. The way most of the social media and most of the digital entertainment is arranged on your phone is that we are actually reading shorter stuff and then we are interacting with so much content.
Okay.
So you kind of are moving from up to up. Like I wouldn't be surprised that for a number of us, maybe we have like 4, 5, 6, 7 apps open at the same time on your smartphone.
Okay.
And you navigate, jump off and off. And so, or even on your computer, most likely you have like 10 tabs that are open, and you're trying to also interact with all of them. In terms of our own brain development, I think in this book done by Nicholas Carr called Shallows, and he says that actually now, because of the fact that we are not taking time to think much more deeply and concentrate on one thing at a time, we are becoming a shallow people, generally as a generation. And the more you consume that, therefore meaning we are having a generation, and maybe younger people, who are losing their ability to think deeply about issues.
Wow.
Let me give you an example. In our path in terms of becoming trivial, you do a post on your social media, like on Facebook, and write something funny. Okay, something not serious, something that doesn't really need you to think very deeply, and say something like Kamairo, or just make the latest joke that is in town, and you'll have lots of comments and lots of responses to it. Make a serious statement, and you will see that deep. It's because now the younger people are now being conditioned to dwell on that which is trivial. And to enjoy that which is trivial vis-a-vis that which actually causes them to think deeply, engage deeply. And no wonder, I think we have the most depressed generation, yet we are the most connected.
That's right.
We are the most connected, yet we are the most depressed, and in terms of our interaction, because partly I think we are trivial. We are not thinking very, very deeply about the real issues of life. We kind of live on the fringes, on the very end of life, and we are not kind of getting into the center and asking for serious questions. So that there's that one. Then the other one is relativism in terms of thought. The claims of Christ are actually absolutes. I am the way, I am the truth, and I am the life. And no one comes to the Father apart from me. And he says, truly, you have heard it was said, but now I tell you, truly, truly, what he's saying is that I'm bringing a certainty, an absolute statement to what was debated before and what you have heard before. I am bringing now a conclusion to this. So Jesus brings in very serious absolute statement. Social media goes the opposite direction. Social media makes it open. So if I did a post on anything, I'll be challenged by whoever and whenever, and my post will not go unchallenged. And the unfortunate thing is now, because digital entertainment now has given everybody a voice, which is a good thing, but it is also a bad thing. Because when we were growing up, we used to listen to experts. When you really wanted to learn about something, you could get experts. But now you don't get experts commenting on anything, on the most important things of life.
Right.
You get everybody commenting.
Yes.
So you will get someone who absolutely does not even know the subject matter very well,
putting in their opinion. And once they have put in their opinion on the social media feed, they affect everybody else who comments after that.
Right.
Okay? If the first person who comments on your post goes negative, I will give you almost 60%. Everybody else
will be negative.
Will be negative because they will be influenced by the first person who commented in the direction they picked.
Yes.
And most likely, the person does not even know what is being talked about very well. He's not an expert. But because everybody now has an opinion, and social media doesn't bring like a conclusion to say, oh, okay, this is a social media post that was done by Jaden. The conclusion of the matter is, this is the truth. We never get there. All discussions on social media are left open.
Opinionated.
So now we become too opinionated without knowing the truth. So we have lots of knowledge and a lot of opinion, but we don't have the truth.
Wow.
So we are truth deficient as a people.
Yes.
Because we don't have a place where we come to a stop and someone tells us, you have heard it be said, but now I tell you. So that now your heart is rested, that now I know the truth.
Wow. That is very, very, very profound. Tell us, how ought we to live then with this kind of reality?
I think media has exposed everyone who's lazy. Now in the media saturated space, you cannot be intellectually lazy. You cannot afford to be intellectually lazy. Sheepish answers to very complicated issues of life will not fly with your generation. I cannot answer a serious, sincere question that my teenager is asking with a flat statement of telling him, do it because I say so. He will Google. And he will discover that doesn't know this stuff. He's actually pretending, you see. So I need to be honest when I'm living now in the media saturated, because now we no longer have knowledge now is no longer a custodian of a few. Knowledge is now there for anybody who wants to seek it. But then, since we have the truth, number one would be, in terms for us, is to be honest. Number two is do not give flat statements to complicated issues of life. Number three is for us now to be more conversant with the truth than we are with what's happening around in the culture. One of the deepest, one of the most fundamental things that now anyone living in this culture must do is to read their Bible.
Wow.
Is actually to read your Bible. You will need to know your Bible well. You will need to spend more time with your Bible than ever before. That's number one. Number two, we will need times of solace and quietness away from the noise of our culture and social media, and get a break from digital entertainment and just take time alone with the Lord. When you find that tranquility and you come back into the noise of our culture, then you will find life that you can speak back to those around you. Number four is to enhance our relationships. Be now more deliberate in how you relate to those who are close to you. So that I now make time for my wife deliberately, I make time for my children deliberately, I make time for my friends deliberately, to meet them physically and catch up with them and talk, so that I'm also growing relationally as a human being. And number five is which is a recommendation that Nicholas makes in his book Shallows. He says, then we will need to be readers of books. Book reading, and you see this magazine
one interesting.
I hope you got this. It's bad manners to have bad manners to have more clothes than books. Book reading has the benefit of causing you to think on one subject for a long period of time.
Right.
And that kind of helps you to develop your concentration skills.
Right.
Then it also helps you to think and meditate on issues. It actually develops your own critical thinking. And if there's a skill you would want to teach a young person, as a youth pastor, as a parent, is book reading.
Wow.
book reading.
Mm-hmm.
And book reading is one of those benefits. I'm not so sure how many books you read last year. But besides the schoolwork, the children in my house have a goal of to read at least 12 books.
Wow.
Besides the...
In a year or
In a year.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, in a year.
Yeah.
That's about a book a month.
Okay.
The best among them does like 36.
Okay.
Wow. And that just enriches you so that you don't spend too much time on the screens, no matter which there is. You have the smartphone, tablets, TV screens. You walk away from that, invest in more books, and have them read more books, and be coming back to the digital entertainment when they need to actually just take a break.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That has been just awesome. I am really, mind blown by the things that you are talking about. We can't say better, but I think it's really awesome work what you are doing, and may God really continue building you and expanding you. I don't know what will be your final words as we conclude to the young people out there.
Okay. I do pray that once you get to watch this video, that you will make an effort at least to respond to some of those things we've talked about. You will not afford to be intellectually lazy as you're growing up as a young person. And even as a parent, is that the kind of now culture we are all growing up in and walking in is so complicated that we would need first to be rooted in God's word before we can engage with it. And remember this, that technology is not evil. Technology is powerful. And it is because it is too good. It is too good. It entices the heart. And therefore we miss that opportunity to engage with it from a biblical perspective.
Thank you so much, Mr. Johnnie Gathuku, for making time to join us. This has been so nice having you, of course, and it will be a pleasure to have you again. If you have not read any of the magazines, you can access them through the schools, and even I'll drop, we'll put their contacts on their comments in the description box. You can also call them and reach out to them and get to read some of the magazines and the issues that they have. And of course, we will of course have him again to discuss on intensively on some of the issues that he has highlighted. We are so honored to have you also watching this episode. From this side to your side, it's a goodbye. My name is Jaden Steve.